We're about 2 minutes away from the end of this trading day on this Monday. Scarlett Fu and Alex Steele here, counting you down to the closing bell, and here to help us take you beyond the bell with a global simulcast. We have Carol Massar and Tim Stenovic from the radio studio. Of course, welcome to our Bloomberg Television viewers, Bloomberg Radio listeners, and our YouTube audiences worldwide as we parse through some important milestones of this trading day. I don't know how many milestones that you've seen today, Carol, but it just seems to be
I think the milestone comes tomorrow.
So you say. You don't know that's going to happen. It could be a snooze or two.
It could be a snooze. What, tomorrow's CPI report? It could be, but at least it gives us a focal point and something to kind of talk around. Having said that, it does feel like a little bit of a mellow day and that we're just kind of waiting for that, and then we're waiting for next week's Fed meeting. We do have some earnings, though, after
it's time to take bets. Another day, another record for Bitcoin. Crossing the $72,000 mark for the first time, Alex. Up another $2,500 in the last 24 hours. We just did a really kind of a fun story about 1,500 millionaire wallets that are created each day. Have you guys seen this? It's among the most read in the last hour, thanks to the rally that we've seen in Bitcoin this year. It's not at the high that it was back in 2021, where there were thousands created each day. We also don't know if these are individuals or if they're like larger entities that are
I just kind of avoided that, Scar, because I'm not one of them.
That's what I said, too.
Like, all right, it's not me, so whatever. Also, like, I hate to say this, but what goes up can also come down. So, like, are you holding Bitcoin for the next 30 years as a diversifier, or are you going to be actively trading it, in which case, when it goes down, are you going to be selling and then it gets to be in a world of pain?
Number go up.
Tell us how you really feel about it.
I'm just jealous it's not me who's in Bitcoin.
Both.
All right, there are the closing bells. Look at that. There we are. Okay, we wrapped up one day of trading here in the U.S., and it was really boring. So the Dow Jones ended up by about 0.1%, but volume was really light. The S&P down by 0.1, the Nasdaq up by 0.4%, but again, volume all light. I wonder if it's going to be a little sell into the news, buy the news scenario, Carol, but I agree with you. It's not been that exciting on a headline level.
Oh, my God. Right. It's been really kind of mellow, to say the least. All right. S&P 500. Let's just give you the breakdown, though, folks. 292 names actually gaining in today's session. 209 to the downside, and Scarlett 2 unchanged.
Yeah, we are marking time before CPI tomorrow, before PPI and retail sales on Thursday. You look at the sector performances, it is a mixed day overall. Yes, there are definite pockets of red. You have industrials, which had been doing fairly well, leading the decline off by 0.5%. Boeing is a big reason why. Consumer discretionary and REITs also in the red by 0.5%. On the flip side, your gainers include materials, that's Albemarle and Newmont, energy stocks, and consumer staples.
All right, guys, let's get to some of the individual gainers, if I may. Moderna, check it out. #1 gainer in the S&P 500 and the Nasdaq 100 today. That stock up almost 9%, 8.7% to be exact. Really continuing to see upside momentum, if you will. Rallying after a government trial website shows that the drug maker is starting a mid-stage study to test its experimental cancer vaccine in patients with a form of skin cancer. The trial, by the way, in collaboration with Merck, but that sent that stock definitely higher in today's session. Got a twofer for you. IMAX and Warner Brothers Discovery. IMAX up about 4% in today's session. Warner Brothers Discovery, that was a top gainer in the NASDAQ 100. That one was up about 3.9%, Warner Brothers. Actually, I should say IMAX coming out saying it set a new record in global market shares with Dune Part 2. I haven't seen it. I don't know if Tim, nope.
Saw Part 1.
You guys
haven't seen
it?
Part 2.
I have not, but I also want to mention, of course, IMAX got a big shout out. The CEO got a big shout out at yesterday's Oscars from the Oppenheimer producers.
You're right, they did. All right, so good stuff. So anyway, so they're definitely part of the narrative today and definitely rallying in today's session. IMAX, as I said, set a new record in global market shares with Dune Part 2, notching 22% of the global box office in the second weekend of Dune Part 2. Legendary and Warner Brothers are the studios behind it, so that's why you saw probably Warner Brothers maybe also popping as well, up 3.9%. One last name, MicroStrategy, if we bring it up for you guys, rallying to its highest in, I think, 24 years, up, 4% here in today's session. I scratched my head with anything to do with Bitcoin, but here we go. Bought another 12,000 Bitcoin for almost $822 million, the second largest purchase by the company since it began buying it almost 4 years ago. So now they've got total Bitcoin holdings to around 205,000 tokens or more than $14 billion. Those tokens bought between.
Alex is covering her ears right now as you talk about Bitcoin and MicroStrategy.
Well, no, I don't understand. Is it just because of the value and that's it?
I'm back to I'm just Ken right now.
Okay.
That's where I am.
I'm just Ken?
But I'm totally listening to you. I'm just Ken.
I thought you said I just can't.
No, I'm just Ken.
Is that the only one who didn't watch? I didn't watch last night.
I watched the whole thing. The whole 3.5 hours.
Late.
Scarlett's the only person I found who watched.
No,
Yeah.
Carol
Aside
did
from
too.
Beat the Ranganathan. Oh, okay.
Carol
It
watched the whole
started
thing.
at 7 o'clock.
Yeah, too late.
Done
Way
by
too
like
late.
10 o'clock or whatever.
Way too late.
No.
I'll catch the clips later today.
Google
hey, I
I'm
do
just
want to
Ken.
talk about some of the decliners. I want to start with shares of Meta Platforms down 4.4% on the day today. It did fall as much as 5.9% earlier in the session, but still, even with the close right now, its biggest decline in about a year. This after former President Donald Trump reiterated in an interview with CNBC that he's against banning the Chinese-owned social media app TikTok because it would actually aid Facebook and make Facebook bigger. This is a sentiment that he shared several times over the last few weeks. Should remind you, it's up 36% so far this year, up nearly 200% last year. So a decline of what, just a little over 4.4%, putting that into context a little. Scarlett, you mentioned Boeing. Shares of Boeing finishing the day down about 3%. This after the U.S. Justice Department opened a criminal investigation into the mid-air blowout of the fuselage panel on the 737 MAX 9 back in January. We did hear from Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg yesterday that the FAA will rigorously assess Boeing after that blowout. Also, the head of Delta Airlines told Bloomberg on Sunday that he expects further delays to the 737 MAX 10 variant, which is still not yet certified. Shares of Boeing down 26% so far this year, lowest since November of last year. And here's one for Alex. EQT Corporation, among the worst performers on a percentage basis in the S&P 500. U.S. natural gas producer agreeing to buy back former Equitrans Midstream Corp for about $5.5 billion in stock. Shares closed down 7.7% today. This is the latest flurry of deals in the oil and gas pipeline industry, but investors sending shares lower of the acquiring company today.
All right, I'm going to play Romaine for a second. Can I just add one more gainer?
No, Romaine will add
Wait, we got Oracle, guys.
Oh, we do. All right, so let's go there.
We have adjusted EPS of $1.41, beating the consensus estimate of $1.38. And then let's look at the different revenue lines. Overall revenue adjusted was $13.28 billion, bang in line with what analysts had anticipated. But if you look at cloud revenue, it was $5.1 billion, slightly higher than what analysts had anticipated, $5.06 billion. Oracle says cloud services and license support revenue was up 12% to $9.96 billion. The stock moving up right now about 3% in after-hours trading. It has also maintained its quarterly dividend at 40 cents a share.
Yeah, decent operating margin too, right? That third quarter adjusted operating margin, 44%. That's above what the street was expecting. I mean, the stock's up on the year, up about 8% here. So definitely continuing a move to the upside, as Scarlett mentioned, now up about 2.5%. 3% even, as it bumps even higher.
Okay, looking at shares of Vail Resorts, ticker MTN, down about 2.2% in the aftermarket. The company sees fiscal year total reported EBITDA $847 to $889 million. Second quarter net revenue coming in at $1.08 billion, shy of estimates of $1.15 billion. The company does see fiscal year net revenue, or fiscal year net, I should say, $270 to $325 million, saw $316 to $394 million, so that came in below estimates. Second quarter EPS $5.76, coming in below estimates of $6.08. Again, shares down about 2.2% in the after hours.
I should point out the CEO saying in the results, given the unfavorable conditions across our North American results, we're pleased to say that we are basically resilient at the end of the day, that their ancillary businesses like ski and ride school and dining and rental businesses actually had strong growth, even though overall it was a little bit lighter than that.
Approximately 42% lower snowfall across our Western North American resorts through January. Yeah. That is... as you know,
and then what do you do? Then you
warming.
have to pay for the snow, right? Then you have to have a snow machine. That's more expensive.
Only
but then the rain...
only if it's warm enough to make it.
Right, and then the rain destroys all of it anyway.
Yeah.
Because it rains all the time.
Depends on where it's happening. They got a lot of snow in the last few weeks.
Right, and this is important because you guys, Tim was a ski bum and worked there. So that's why I was like, you got to break this because
the glory days.
You do the ski things.
Appreciate it.
Which mountain did you ski, Tim?
I lived in Vail. I skied Vail, Beaver Creek. I skied Arrowhead. Yeah, I was doing 100 days a year after college.
Huge.
Yeah, now I do none. So that's the way it goes.
All right. I don't know if there's AI in skiing, but I just want to mention another headline from Oracle. Demand for its Gen 2 AI substantially, that's their word, exceeding supply. So getting a little bit more of kind of the AI narrative and story, if you will.
It feels like they're setting the agenda for the conference call later on.
AI. I mean, to be fair, the stock is up almost 10%. So it was also cloud infrastructure contracts and new ones that really seem to do and deliver really well.
All right, good. And I just want to mention Advanced Auto Parts. I'm sure you guys were on it. It was up 3.7% just at the close. Wall Street Journal saying activist Third Point has a stake in the company. So,
interesting.
Yeah, so we did see that one pop just in the last few minutes of trading. This was before the close. All right, guys, that's a wrap. Our cross-platform coverage, radio, TV, YouTube, Bloomberg Originals. We will see you again. We call it Beyond the Bell. We'll see you again, same time, same place tomorrow.